See, when you're trying to describe your goal to someone, do you ever find the words that you're using don't quite convey what you're actually trying to say? That they don't feel as if you're managing to get the passion out that inside you, inside your head, inside your heart, you feel about these things. But when the words come out, they're a bit, That's what we're going to talk about today. And talk a bit about how we can look at that and how we can handle that and how we can give ourselves permission just to take a bit of time and figure the right words out. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Matt and I'm a wellbeing and personal development coach, and I've given myself the fun task and the fun challenge of trying to attain as many of my goals as possible in a realistic kind of way over the next 9 months. And even more fun than that, documenting them on this channel. For myself, my goal is to really build a successful business around well-being and personal development coaching. And I feel quite okay sharing that on YouTube, but strangely, outside of these videos, explaining what I'm trying to do can sometimes feel like an uphill struggle. Maybe it's because what we're trying to do when we're setting these goals for ourselves is it doesn't really have a neat job title or a traditional job title or role. I worked in IT. You can imagine the looks I get when I tell people what I now do. And I've thought sometimes maybe that I do need an elevator pitch, something that just can roll off the tongue whenever I meet people and they actually start asking me what I do. But it would have to be minus the cringeworthiness. I'm not great in, shall we say, the corporate cliche. Let me know in the comments if you sometimes find yourself holding back a bit when you're describing your goals to people, because you're a wee bit worried that you're going to get the dreaded, what? Or worse still, eh? You know, if we're out somewhere and I meet someone I haven't met in the past, and eventually that question's going to come, what is it you actually do, Matt? And I say, well, I'm a life coach. And I can't really find myself saying that. That's the problem. I really cringe with it. There's so much bad press, or at least I feel that there's a lot of bad press about the phrase life coach. Maybe it's a bit too much. So I tend to say wellbeing and personal development coach. And for me, those are words that people seem to recognise more. They're comfortable with them. I'm comfortable with them. And I think sometimes that helps, especially when the goal that you're trying to attain is something that might be slightly out the norm. If you were just to say, oh, I'm starting up a business or I'm becoming an IT contractor, people understand that. They don't quite understand the more, shall we say, esoteric goals that some people might have. You know, I want to be a life coach, I want to be a landscape photographer, I want to sail around the world. Well, the sail around the world one might have a bit of adventure to it, so people will understand that, but they still might go, eh? And then I might say to them, oh yeah, and I make YouTube videos. And I'm hoping that they're impressed with that. You know, it's YouTube at the end of the day. But every so often you can see them thinking, but you're 60. Shouldn't you have a hobby? Shouldn't you be pottering around in the garden or walking the dog or something like that? And you gave up a real job? Do you really have a real job? I might have got carried away a little bit, but these kind of reactions, they have happened. And if you can't figure out the words that you're happy to use describing what you're doing, how are other people going to understand how excited you are about it? That's one of the things that when we're talking about telling people what our goals are we actually telling them what it is? Or are we also trying to tell them how excited we are? And hopefully that energy is one of the things that carries it through as well. But to do that, we've got to have that confidence in the words that we're saying. And that is something that only comes through time. That is something that comes through saying what it is. You know, I'm not wanting to get into the idea of an elevator pitch, but sometimes we do have to practice saying what it is we're wanting to do. The truth is, not everybody's going to be that wildly interested in your goals. And the truth is as well that that's absolutely fine. Some people will just be polite, but others will be genuinely curious, and those are the ones that you hope to find, because it gives you a boost as well. Because of my own doubts, I'm still not sure when someone is nodding just to be nice. I've got to admit, so I have to look at the evidence of what's happened in the past, the reactions I've had in the past. Some people are genuinely interested. It's taken me a while to recognise that some people are genuinely interested, but my own doubts convinced me that everyone is just being polite. And for me, that's something that I've got to go over, but I don't think I'm alone in thinking that. But the thing, and as I said though, a lot of people will be genuinely interested, maybe not in the subject, but they might be interested for you. They might be genuinely excited for you. And that's why it's important that we can become confident in saying what it is our goals are. Getting a good idea of the direction that you want to go in is a really good start. But having a strong definition of what your goal is on day one and how you're wanting to take that is all but impossible. These things take time without a doubt. So knowing the general direction that you're wanting to head in is a fantastic start. It will give you something that you can keep checking back on. You might even change things as you go along. As long as you've got a rough idea of the milestones, those markers that mean something to you, then that gives you a certain amount of freedom. That takes away a bit of the stress, because you know what you want to try and get to. You know at least the beginnings of where you're wanting to go. And it also opens up the chance for you to do a bit of exploring as well. Because if you have those initial milestones, you know where you're heading. So trying something different, experimenting with things is fine, as long as you continue to come back to those milestones. And you never know, the milestones may change. But it's better that than just trying different things without actually having a plan. And when you've got that freedom from taking the less obvious paths, knowing that you're not lost, you're just exploring things, then the nice thing is it gives you a better idea of what you like and what you don't like. Remember, this is you building something that could change how the rest of your life goes. By doing this, by knowing the milestones, by understanding them, it'll build your confidence. And if it builds your confidence, then when you talk to people about your goal, those words become stronger. How you put it across becomes stronger. And your belief can be seen, your excitement can be seen. I've explored different paths. Technically, I'm a life coach. My qualifications say life coach. The industry I'm in is life coaching, and I still cringe at those words. So why is it I hate saying I'm a life coach? I think it's that I hate the off-the-shelf coaching statements, the faux energy, if you like, that might come with that. If I bring any sort of energy to the table, it's more about reflecting and taking time to be honest with yourself, rather than grabbing life by the throat. That's not me. Yes, I've been asked a couple of times about the cult thing, but I promise you, I'm not trying to start a cult. I've never been much of a joiner that way. And the nice thing is that most life coaches are like me. It's just the noisy ones that tend to get noticed. In exploring those different paths, I've given myself options. One of the nice things is I've found that I like well-being. I like studying it. I like finding out about it. I also like creating. And I found that I really enjoy sharing the information I found and creating new ways of sharing that information with people. That has taken me a while to realise. When I first started this, I thought, oh, one-to-one coaching, that's what it's going to be. And I still enjoy that. I still get a lot out of that. But by exploring different things, I have found the things that actually mean more to me. And that is things like these kind of videos, which hopefully will get better, group coaching, these kind of things, sharing well-being, helping people with personal development. that is the thing that I wouldn't have realised if I hadn't explored those different things. You know, the words will come. Without a doubt, we all struggle when we're first starting to describe something that quite frankly is as personal as a goal, because we're opening up a little bit, we're showing that vulnerability when we're doing it. And even though I prefer to avoid cliches like elevator pitches and what have you, sometimes when we're talking, that kind of energy can be useful. Maybe not the whole full-on thing, but as we explore and the words that we've got become more ours and we own those words, then maybe it does become more of a pitch. But sometimes, even if we've got the words perfect, we've got to remember that the person we're talking to, it might not just be for them, but the next person might love it. And that's what we keep striving for. We keep going and gathering, if you like, more and more people who get excited about what we're trying to do. And that can feed into the energy that helps us, helps me, helps you keep going with our goals. Rather than trying to find the right words that everybody will get, just get the words that you believe in. Because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to understand your own goals. And bit by bit, it will come. Bit by bit, you will find those words that really resonate with you. Even if, like me, it takes time. Oh, it's taking time. And quite frankly, I'm talking a few years. A good few years. Okay, it's time to give the update for the challenge that I've got. Now, there's been a few things in the last video. I went on quite a bit about the language we use, and that stuck with me, that kept going. And so, yep, there's been a few changes to the goals I'm trying to get, but I think that these ones are ones I'm going to be sticking with for a while. Fitness, stamina, although I brought that together, I've now got that as physical health, and I've brought in weight and nutrition into that as well. For me, there's no point in trying to separate them all. I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to get fitter. I'm trying to get my stamina up. I'm trying to lose weight and eat healthier. The next thing was the focus and brain fog. That stayed the same, and sleep stayed the same because that's important to me. Structure though, that's disappeared. So has weight and nutrition, as I've said, and stress. I've taken them off it, and instead I've replaced it with business. I'm trying to build a business. My environment. Now, I'm not talking about green issues or something like that. They're very important. What I'm talking about is the environment I live in. So for instance, this van will one day not just be taking us away for trips and adventures, but I've always wanted to have it so that I can work from it. I don't want to just work from home. I want to find nice places and sit for a day in the van and work from here. So that's one of the things, that's one of the goals. And I think I've been that busy trying to do other goals that I've missed something as important as this. So as you can see, that's what I've been up to today and over the last wee while, is trying to get the van ready. It'll get there. And the last one's personal development. There's a few courses that I'm wanting to finish, a few courses that are qualifications that I want to get. And so that's something, that's one of the goals over the next 9 months that I'm trying to complete as well. So how's things going? What are the scores? Physical health has gone up from 5 to 1, and that's because I've lost weight again. Just a pound, but it's still heading in the right direction. And also, physically, I felt really good when I've been in the gym this week. Focus is at a 6, so that stayed the same. Sleep, well, for one reason or another, sleep's not been great this week, so it has gone down 1. It's still better than it was when I started, but I've got to accept that it's gone down 1. Business, well, I'm calling that a 5. This is the first time we've actually looked at business, and I'm going to call it a 5. There's a few things that I've got to get done, especially before we go on holiday. That's pushing the stress level slightly, so I need to get on with that, so that's a 5. The van, well, I'm working on it, so again, that's a 5. The only one that is not doing so well is I've had to take a small step back from it, and that's the personal development, and that's currently a 3. So that's how the Wheel of Life stands this week. things have changed, but I've got a better idea. A bit like goals themselves, I've got a better idea of what I'm going forward with. You know, just because that you work as a coach doesn't mean to say that you know your own goals just like that. I know the goals of the business, but when it comes to some of the other things, maybe I haven't been as clear with myself as I could have been. I'd be really interested to hear how you feel about this slight change to the style of the videos. I am going to do more of a voiceover thing. It's not just going to be in the van. This isn't a van life video. We will be going back to nature and going in the landscapes and going on walks and what have you. But there's going to be more just of those goals that I'm trying to get, those things that I'm trying to do. So it might be here in the van, it might be out walking, it might be, I don't think it will be cooking, but you know, it might be in the garden or something like that. Who knows? But there's going to be more variety in what we're showing and probably more voiceover. I'm just trying to see what works and make the video better. But as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out the website at www.thatnotion.com for information on signing up for the newsletter and details of the check-in sessions as well. They'll be starting once I get back from holiday. And if you want, maybe take a wee challenge on, maybe put together some words about your own goals and share them in the comments under the video. It can be a scary thing being so public with it. So if you don't want to do it, there's no problem. But if you do, it'd be great to see. And you never know, you might get some good compliments and support that you maybe weren't expecting. Anyway, thanks very much for watching the video. I appreciate it as always. See you next week. Thanks. Bye.